Pasha Paro, YN7. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big board pep for my peeps. Thanks for your understanding. I took a day off yesterday, which was a gift and a curse. I'm going to tell you why. But it's always the perfect day. Always the perfect day. So, this was a great day for you. It's a great thing every time you learn something, right? Growth and development. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're new to this, completely new to this, you're just getting into it, you're just working out some kinks in your new strategies, wherever the level you're on, every lesson helps you grow. Now, when you can try to, mitigate or reduce the losses and stay in the green as much as possible, that's great. But, even the losses are lessons. Let's just keep the losses really small and the greens really big, right? So, or positive, you know what I mean? Because personally, I think when you saw what we did with bingo, right? I think we made the most of that. The peeps caught the most of that pep, right? Welcome to the channel. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, because as I grow and get better, hopefully you can learn from me and maybe it'll inspire you if you're haven't got into this yet, and we can all grow together. That's the point of this. So we take the good with the bad and we keep it moving, right? Because that's the nature of the game. So what I'm getting at is this. The way we executed on bingo, I took a break yesterday for the day, and I worked on some of my creative outlets and in my free time. And so I came back today and I was like, okay, let me look through. I think what you need, or I ain't gonna say what you need because you got, do you, but I think what helps is to have, this is my log, and it's not every single detail in it, but I think you should have a log or a records of stuff that you're looking into, right? So basically what I'm getting at is I was reviewing some of my other stocks now that I had for various reasons eyes on. And this is how I stumbled across this, right? I didn't even know what was going on, and it's Ncty. We're gonna call it Ncty. Now, this is a great story, and it's a lot of lessons in here. I'm not gonna be too long, but I'm gonna tell you the story, and then I'm gonna get something to eat because it's in the oven, and I got about 30 minutes. You know how that go, right? So this stock, I was in, and it's a bunch of lessons in this. Like, learn why things are the way they are, and you'll see stuff that you know what I mean? Don't get emotional about stuff. Just look at what's going on, observe, and identify. So here's another stock. I got a bunch of them. Like I said, this is gonna be the way this is starting off, it's gonna be a great year. You know what I mean? You guys know I just hopped back into it on this level, or as far as in control of my own situation, not just letting it, grow in a pool. The fourth quarter, end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter of 2020. So I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend to y'all that I know everything and that I'm the master of this, and I have had the mind wrapped around it for years, but I haven't been in practice for it, on this element until we've been back in the game for 3 months. And you see, after shaking some rust off in 3 months, you see how we getting down, so you know where we're going. So go ahead, like and subscribe, and let me tell you why this is really exciting. Even though I made a little less than 400 off of it today, it's still a green. You know what I mean? It's still a plus. Remember, my goal is 100 to 500 a day. If I can maintain that no matter what the market is doing, I mean, the magic number 3 something is 6 figures a year. That's 100 grand. You know, I think 500 was 173,000. You know, so sure, it's great to come on here like we did Monday and say, hey, look, we took in 5K overnight basically in the market. You know what I mean? So those days are great, but don't expect to hit the home runs every single day, because I think that increases your risk. And that's what I really, really stress to my peeps here on the channel is, one, know what your risk is. And that risk varies in reality. If you're honest with yourself, that same execution, that same play has a much higher risk if you don't know all the details, versus it would have a much lower risk if you knew all the details, right? And this is how the quote that I always give people: the hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. Agreed? Okay, so here's what happened. If you look over there at the left of the chart, I was monitoring this stock. I was in this stock. I actually made money. I actually went green on this stock in the beginning of December, playing my little, you know, catch the up, get out. It was at $3. Excuse me. It was at $3 a share, you know, give or take some pennies. So I was in it, and there's a reason why. Okay. Because what I was interested in about it, if you know the history of the stock, first of all, years ago, it was at like $1,700 a share. Ridiculous, stupid money, right? And it was back in the day, I guess, when video games weren't as what they are now, and they had a deal with some video game, computer online video game, where they had the exclusive, you know, in order to play that game online, you had to exclusively go through their system, their server, their network, whatever it was. So the stock was stupid money, right? So then when that actual like video game license, I don't know if the GameStop period like got old and got, you know, whatever, or they just, the license for them, the exclusiveness for them ran out. But anyway, that happened, right? And they no longer had the exclusive deal with them. And then the stock kind of shortly thereafter plummeted all the way down, and the company went didn't go bankrupt or nothing, but the stock went all the way down to basically where it was at now, at like $3, and it just was like flat the whole time. And you could catch some spikes, some dips there, and if you knew, you know, how to execute on that and when to catch it, and you know how to protect yourself, it was okay, a few dollars here and there, right? You know, especially if you have a goal like I do of just simply $100 to $500 a day. So I was watching it, but what I was interested in is I was interested in it because when I did the research, then I found that they were already, like, now they were just an internet company in China. Like, that's where they're at. They're in China. And what they wanted to do was they were starting and growing a blockchain, and they wanted to be the next big thing in blockchain, right? So I'm watching this, and then you got the whole thing about, you know, delisting Chinese companies, the whole this, that, and the other going on, and it wasn't moving, and I was like, all right, cool. I got involved in some other stuff, you know, cake in there, and I lost sight of this for a couple of days in the latter part of December. And I was doing my follow-up today, and I was like, oh, shit. I was doing my follow-up, and I was like, wait, this shit's at, when I saw it was at, like, literally, like, right at $10. And I was like, wait, $10? This was just at $3. What's going on? So I went back and looked, and the weird part is, this is crazy. This is why this is crazy. It's the gift and the curse, right? So all through December, we're talking the same thing, the $3. You can see my little boxes. Because I have the chart blown up now, it looks kind of really small. But back when it was only $3, if I was to zoom in on that, it would be big, and we would see all the details of the line there. But you see my little boxes like I be doing and stuff over there on the left. So apparently somewhere overnight, as we entered in, as we entered into year 2021, I don't know, is the Mandela effect? What is it called? I don't know. But anyway, it leaves 2020 at $3. It enters 2021 at like 6 and change, right? Which means it doubled, which is not, uncommon. I just missed it at that time. And that's okay. Because I followed up, that was what? So Monday was the 4th, right? And it came in at 6. It still was relatively flat. Then yesterday, it did its thing. I didn't want to see no stocks yesterday. I was totally detoxing from the stock market for a day. And I didn't even check none of this. So I definitely missed yesterday. So it did some activity. It went up above $8. And then I saw it today. It just literally just hit $10 when I saw it. And that's when I followed up and said, wait a minute. And I saw all this stuff here about how it entered 2021 and it's been going ever since. So now here's the key. So I saw it at 10, right? Now, shit. A few months ago, when I can't even say a few months ago because I still would have, when I first started back doing this, my discipline wasn't as tight. You know what I mean? It took, it took me a couple weeks to get to where I'm at now, and I grow, not really where I'm at now, but I took it in stages. You guys have followed along with me, so you saw the growth. But I can honestly say in October, like my lack of discipline might have made me a lot more today, right? However, I appreciate and value my discipline because now I realize that it's okay. It doesn't matter. As long as this market keeps opening up for the next 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, there's going to be opportunities and chances to do this every day, okay? So if you're new, know that and just breathe through stuff, you know what I mean? Because you're going to get what you're supposed to get when you get it. Just make sure you're strategic about it and keep it out of the red. So here's what I do. So now the old me would have been like, oh shit, this is up, it's climbing. And you might relate to this because maybe this is what you do now. But the old me, 3 months old ago, so it doesn't mean that you have to always be like that, would have been like, yo, this is moving, let me get in. And I'd have been like, boom, 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 right? Now, today, I had a lot of stuff on my calendar, right? It was a pretty busy day, and I had to actually prepare for some of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know? I know some of you guys have jobs. I have a job, I work, and I have stuff that I do, for myself. So I'm no different than you in that case. And we can't always have totally our undivided attention. Sometimes we may have a few minutes. And I had a few minutes today, and I did a quick scan, and I found this at 10, and you already know how we got there. Okay, so the old me would have just jumped in, let it go, and maybe would have came up, right? The new me goes, okay, let me first, look, it's going up. It's at like 10, 10.05, 10, 11, 10, 10. But, and then it starts to do a bounce. Then it's going up 10, 20. And I'm sitting there like, okay, let me check this, see what the news is on this. Oh, okay. So here's what the news was today. Right? Or I saw it today, but it actually came out 2 days ago. So if I wasn't getting over my drunkenness of bingo, I might have saw this and maybe would have had a little bit of more of a play on it. But I'm still satisfied because my daily goal is $100 to $500, and I came in between 3 and 4 today, so I'm within my range on the plus side. I'm back to hitting good base hits after a major home run, actually several major home runs in the last 7 days, if you want to call it so. So that was really why that was the other benefit of taking a detox, because I didn't want to come in off of that and be too lost because of it. So I wanted to make sure I cleared my head, focused again to come in, and now just no matter what, just go back to hitting base hits. You know what I mean? Don't get too carried away, because that's how you get set up and you make a mistake being greedy and then something happens and now you just made 5 and you lose 4. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. So I went back to hitting base hits, wanted to clear my mind, worked on some other creative projects. So it was like a bonus thing. I got to work on some creativity and I got to clear my mind. So that's why. Now, this may be happening in your life. So don't be listening to me like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Listen to me like, oh, shit, you know, maybe I didn't do exactly what you did, but I can relate to that because I did this on that day. And wow, I didn't look at it like that. Okay, so this is how do you look at it in the future? Yeah, detox every now and then. Take a day, take a break off. When you go to work, don't you take a day off? So every now and then it's good, especially when you really put in a lot of work and energy into something. And yeah, it paid off. But now take a minute and breathe. You know what I mean? And then get back into it so you don't get too caught into it. You know what I'm saying? All right, at least that's how I look at it. Because anything can become an addiction, right? And we're not here to get addicted to this shit. It's just like gambling. You don't want to go to the casino even when you win it and get addicted, because once you're addicted, once you hook, that's how you start, you know, coming down and taking losses and stuff, because you're just feeding the addiction instead of feeding your strategy and your moves. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna talk about it all here on Why That 7. You know what I mean? Because it's all energy related. All right, so let's get to this. So what they did is they, on January 3rd, which was Sunday, which they slid it right in at the perfect time because I'm watching bingo preparing for Monday. And so basically they signed a legally binding cooperation and investment term sheet with cryptocurrencies mining investors led by JJ Kong to start the cryptocurrency business, right? So I read a little bit of this because it's going up. And so when I saw the headline, I said, okay, that makes total sense, because if you remember, we told you this company was building a blockchain and they wanted to be like the biggest blockchain in China, right? So if you know anything about cryptocurrencies, or especially Bitcoin, they wouldn't exist, or at least the Bitcoin wouldn't exist. I can't speak for all the other ones. I didn't research every single one of them, but the Bitcoin only exists because of the blockchain underlining, right? So that makes total sense. Now, so at that point, you know, I grabbed like 75 shares, something light, you know what I mean? It's at like $10. It's jumping around between high 9s and 10.20. So I grabbed like 75 shares. Then I get a little bit into it, grab another 25, so I have an even 100. And then I read this and see this guy, he was the former director and co-chairman of Canaan, Canaan, however you want to say that, right? So my mindset said, okay, this all sounds great. You know a little bit about it because you know the blockchain portion. That's why you were interested in the company. However, at this moment, right, I have no way to value what this is really worth. And so I did a quick search on the Canaan company, and its share was only at like $6 at the time, like give or take, but plus, not minus. I know it was 6 something. It might have been 605, might have been 6 even, might have been 650, whatever. It was in the 6s. And mind you, this is already sitting at $10 approximately. And I'm looking at like so at that moment, that's all I have to base this value on, because I haven't had time to fully research it. And I'm to the point now in my career at this, if you want to call it, where I don't have to make a move until I've done the research, because that's when I know my enter and my exit, right? Okay, so what I did at this time was I just grabbed another 100 shares, so we're still in the low 10s, and I rode that up to like $12, right? And it was bouncing around 12.20, 12.30, something like that. So yeah, I caught a couple, you know, a little bit on that. I told you between 300 and 400, and then, you know, my schedule was getting to the busy point. I had to prepare, and it was starting to dip a little bit, and it triggered. I put a little trailing stop loss on it. But once it got into being profitable in my goal, on the upper side of my goal, I tightened the stop loss just in case, you know, it dipped down, so I would maximize for today's green. And I'm okay with that because I reached my goal. Cool. Anything, if it hits this, I'm still here. All right, we work it out later. So it tripped my stop loss, and and then I watched it for like another minute or so, and I didn't have time to really study it. But this company, if I'm gonna do some research now to see what the potential of this is, because Bitcoin, it's not. I don't know if they're going to come out with a currency or they're just mining or what the deal is, but it has some potential. And right now, let's go back to the chart. It closed for the day at $14.89. It was up $6.33 on the day, and at the time of me producing this detail here, it was up another $4.40 in the after hours. So basically, it's up $10 on the day, and right now it's up about $17 since I seen it last, and we're talking not even 7 days ago. Okay, so, and I explained a little bit about it here. So basically, what I want you to understand is there's no wrong way to do this, y'all. Like, if you get in this and you ride this all the way up, that's great. You know what I mean? Let's say I was willing to put in, and it wasn't even like it was a monetary situation. It was just 200 shares for me was something small that I could risk without knowing all the facts. And then, so since I didn't know all the facts, I resorted back to my play to ride up, like I showed y'all, and then take the profit and call it a day. And you know what? I got busy and I got home. I had some errands to run, went and took care of that. And I came back in and was doing some scanning to check on it. And it's at $19 and change. So congratulations to everybody that was in on this, especially if you was in on it from $3, right? Protect your profits, lock it in. Great job. You probably already knew why you were in it. Proud of you all. And what I want the rest of you to know is that opportunities like this are going to happen all the time. We're going through, on one side of the coin, we're going through some revolutions in business, in businesses in general. I mean, you could say the technology sector, you could say this sector, that sector, but we're going through some revolutions. So this is the perfect time, if you're new, to get in and be patient, and you're going to catch some like these, like we just caught bingo. We didn't catch all of this. Cool. We still caught a good $400 almost that we didn't have yesterday. We still climbing up the green ladder. We didn't take any losses. Great job. And congratulations to everybody else who captured the full jump. Protect yourself. I'm going to do some more research on this, see if there's any more potential of it climbing. And the last thing I want to say, because my oven going off, is this. I have a bunch of stocks that I was looking into, and to see bingo jump and then to see this one jump, and they both on my list, it should boost the confidence if you're in a similar situation, because it shows you are focusing on the right type of moves early enough that once we get better and have more time or the right time or whatever it may be, you're going to be able to capitalize on a bunch of these in the future. Okay. So make your list, check it twice and all that shit. And you're going to catch more of these than you miss. So this is okay. I'm happy for everybody that got paid today. You know what I mean? Pasha Paro, YNet7, thank you for choosing. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big board pep for my peeps.